Hi guys, and welcome back to the Anderson Show. Thank you all guys for liking and subscribing. I'm Charlene and I've got my brother here with me, Duwayne.
Hi.
Hi. And today we're going to be talking about, money matters, dreaming big, getting that, job, that brand, that house, anything you wanted. This is the conversation to have with this guy. He's the man, right? So I'm going to introduce Duwayne again to you guys. So this is Duwayne.
Hi.
He's a business owner. In fact, he's got multiple business going on. And as a young entrepreneur, he's doing really well. So I'm going to pass you over to Duwayne. He's going to introduce his business to you. I will also put some of his details, where to find him, on Instagram as well, and his website on the description. So remember to have a look and check him out. So over to you, Duwayne.
Right, well, thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
So a bit about myself. Like Shana said, entrepreneur. Main focus is at the moment property, design and marketing, and pretty much anything that I can get my hands on to that can make a little bit of money. Definitely. I think one of our last ventures was selling vacuum cleaners.
Right, yeah. I have one.
Yeah, they're pretty good. If you want to buy them, there's somewhere in the link, somewhere or wherever.
On Amazon. on Amazon. Look
yeah.
on Amazon.
So yeah, but it's, for me, it's and it's not even just about the money. I just love creating things and bringing things to life, and then having people use that. It's nice.
And helping people. He helps a lot of people. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, so that's pretty much the main business that I do. I can go into a little bit more detail about them if you want.
Yeah.
Okay. So firstly, it started off from doing web design. So web design, started off doing a few websites for people. And initially, the first business we started was with my other brother, PJ.
Yeah.
And then we started our first business, which was loudspeakers. So this, the big tall tower speakers that you have in your home. So we discussing with China designs for the loudspeakers. We got the first speakers ordered and they sent them over. So these were like the sample ones.
Wow.
It's fantastic. It was really nice and really loud. And then they then told us, yeah, okay, great, you got the speakers now. We've got a minimum quantity order of 20 grand.
Wow.
So at these times I was in secondary school.
Wow.
PJ was in college, I think.
Sorry, do you hear that, guys? Secondary school.
So then...
Young people out there. Sorry, I'm just thinking, man.
So we done that. And then obviously as soon as we got the 20 grand mark, we thought, all right, I haven't got 20 grand. PJ hasn't got 20 grand. So let's just call that a day and not go with that one. And then it led on to our next business, which was alloy wheels, so car wheels. And this was actually come about by accident because my brother was like, I want a new pair of wheels for my car. Found them online. The company didn't have a UK distributor. So if you wanted the wheels in UK, impossible, you can get it. So we then said, okay, look, well, he actually said, why don't we be a distributor? And I was like, I don't think it's going to be possible because, they're big. He's like, no, let's do it. So he convinced me. And then we ended up writing like a business plan. It wasn't that long. It was like, 3-4 page business plan. Sent it over to them. And then they was like, okay, yeah, cool, let's meet.
Wow.
In Germany.
That's
cool. And this time...
You guys were young as well, right?
Yeah, so this time, PJ's still in college.
Wow.
And I'm in first year of college. Both still in college. And then, we went over to Germany to meet them. They're really, really nice. The business manager there was a guy called Francesco. They met with us. They was really nice. Then they really liked what we was doing. We like your energy, everything like that. It's good. So we thought, all right, cool. Let's go with that. We got exclusivity with them for the first year. And before we took over, so before we opened up our UK distribution, they sold, I think it was like 3 wheels. So 3 wheels. Mm-hmm. And then our first year, I think we sold about, like 40 something sets. So 40, like 100 and something wheels.
So 3 for a big company and 2 young boys just come out of just started college, just come out of secondary school and sold 45
45 sets, so 45 times 4 different wheels.
Wow. And
that was like for our first year. And the funny thing is, it's looking back now in hindsight, it is absolutely mental because it's the equivalent of you going to, I don't know, because they're the equivalent of a PLC. So in Italy it's called SPA, over here it's called a PLC, public public company.
Yeah.
So it's like, BT, Sky, all these big companies, right?
Yeah.
It's like you going to them,
yeah,
writing them a 4-page business plan and saying, let me bring your company to another country.
And you guys are under 20?
Yeah. So at the time, so
yeah, like, so one thing, so anyone listening, especially if you, adults, you've got young teenagers or you're young yourself, nothing is impossible. These guys just finished secondary school, into first and second year of college, and they flew to Germany for a PLC company that is big, as you said, like BT, and sat down with a 3 to 4 page business plan and was speaking to big giants that, have multiple streams of income, millions of pounds. And these are 2 young kids. Guys, listen up. Go on.
Yeah, so it's funny when you actually look it back over.
Yeah,
it's actually
that sounds amazing.
Funny. So yeah, that was that. And then it's going well. We approached people to do websites and that kind of stuff. Wow. The quotes were ridiculous, $5,000, $10,000 just to do the website.
Yeah.
So we ended up doing the website ourselves.
Wow.
So this now is what is now.
So this was for your website, for the Alloy World. Yeah. Okay.
So now this is what now led on to the marketing and design business.
Okay.
So because we ended up doing it ourselves, everyone saw the website like, oh my gosh, the website is so great, it's so nice. And then while we were still doing that, I then started off doing websites and designs and for people because we'd done our own.
Okay.
So then that's then how IODM formed. So I started offering services for graphic design, all this kind of stuff for people. And then built that up, working with companies like Emma Hope.
She's a shoe boutique.
Shoe boutique.
In the London area.
Intersem, had a retainer with them.
Wow.
And they're like the world's largest. They do the world's largest conferences in cement. So their last conference was in Dubai.
Okay.
And we rebranded them. We've done their new logo. So we've managed to work up all these clients, and it's so funny because obviously the topic of the discussion is about manifestation, vision, like that.
Yeah.
Is certain points.
Yeah.
I said to myself, this is what I want. This is what I want. I want to retain it. And it's like out of the blue, bing, they just come and appear, and it's just so weird. So that's what led me on to.
Bing.
So that's what led on to
money come rain down. Okay. I like that. Bing.
So that's what led on to the web design.
Wow.
And then during that period there's also been these other little side businesses like vacuums and whatever. And then the main one now, which is the main focus, is the property management. So this is the kind of main business right now. So this is a lot of guaranteed rents, Airbnb management, booking.com, all that kind of stuff. We get properties from landlords, we lease them for a certain amount, and then once we got a hold of the properties, we then try to make as much money as we can out of the property.
So you've gone into, or you've seen properties to rent and you've approached them how?
Approached them, yeah. So it was where we just reach out. It could be things like literally searching through Gumtree and all these, looking for landlords to see who's got properties and asking them, look, you can go the traditional route of giving it to a tenant. Okay. However, what lockdown has showed us is that, jobs can be unstable, people can be out of work. And then as a landlord, your number one asset, which is your property, is now losing money because the tenants are out of work, they can't pay, all this kind of stuff.
Exactly. So there's no guarantee of rent. Absolutely.
So although you've got tenancy agreement, there's no guarantee that they will be able to pay you every single month.
Right.
So this is where the difference of the guaranteed rent comes in.
Right.
So then obviously we're now going to these customers and saying, look, these things do happen, and we've got some tenants, actually, landlords. They've left us reviews praising us that throughout the lockdown, their properties had their rent every single month on time, no fail, even when the tenants moved out.
Had moved out. So with that, did you have to kind of save up a little retainer for that, or how did you kind of guarantee the rent? And if
in the initial stages, the guaranteed rent was literally basically, if the house wasn't making enough money, I'd have to dig into my own pockets and make sure they're paid. So regardless,
so you would have to have sort of like a contingency sort of like plan for those things,
exactly
and like a retainer. So if it doesn't pay, you can say, right, I've at least got the 2 or 3 months rent
to pay them, just to make sure, of course. So that's how it started originally. And then now, obviously, since we've grown a little bit, we've got insurers that back us to say,
okay, brilliant.
If they're, the rent's not coming in, we'll top up to make sure that we can make the rent.
Amazing.
We've got a line of credit. So for example, if the house is not making money, we can go and pull money out from the bank, and they'll give us the money to, payments.
So there's other avenues.
The main thing is the profit that we're making. So if one house is not making enough money and one house is making, more than enough money, it would cover the ones that's
you kind of balance that out that way.
With that, we look through all the data to see which properties are not or inefficient, and then we look to change the strategy. So, for example, some properties we had were just a straight rent to rent. So we took the property on from the landlord. Let's just say it's £1,300. We then rented it straight back on for £1,500. So we're making £200 a month, and it wasn't that great, And then by the time we added up for that year that we had to do maintenance, repairs, and all this other kind of stuff, it worked out that through that whole year we didn't really make no money.
Right. So is it like a loss, or was it like break even?
It was, for that one. It would have been a loss. First year would have been a loss because we had to do. There was quite a lot of issues that popped up in the house, like painting, floor, tenant damage, a couple of bits, and we obviously, because we are now liable, we have to make sure the property is back to the standard or better than what we took it from the landlord. Right.
And I guess they say a lot of business in the first year they kind of lose money. Because you're kind of getting yourself established, customers, unless you were kind of known somewhere else before and started, it's different. But just starting from the ground up as a new company, it can be quite difficult the first year, isn't it?
100%. So with that house there, the first year we didn't make the money. So then we thought, okay, look, it's not really working, doesn't make sense. We're contracted with this landlord for 5 years. So if we go down the same route for 5 years, we're going to be losing money for the 5 years.
Right.
So that's when you have to pivot. So we said, okay, look, renting it straight. The area was only giving us £1,500, so we couldn't ask more for that. Right. So then we thought, okay, look, let's divert and go into another options. We weighed up all our options to see, okay, we could do HMO, where we rent out every room.
And what's a HMO?
So HMO is housing in multiple occupancy, where you can rent out each room individually. So
and you have to go to the council for that.
You need there's a lot of legislation behind it, and some houses need it, some houses don't. But consult with me if you need it. Or consult with someone who does HMOs, specialise in HMOs. But a lot of different things are required. So we looked at that option. That wasn't viable. The house wasn't big enough. Not enough rooms. It wouldn't make sense.
Because you'd be losing money.
Because we'd be losing money again, and then we have to pay for it wouldn't have made sense.
Yeah.
So then we went down the option of short-term lets. So short-term lets like your Airbnbs, your Booking.coms, things like that.
Right, okay.
So that then... that was where it was, because the house is located in Putney, very good property, and the demand for the area is quite high. So because that worked, we then put it on Airbnb, managing it properly with all our things.
So with Airbnb, Booking.com, whatever, you have to be established business to then get an account with them.
So you get an account, established business, get an account, and then you can start listing your properties.
And then, do you have to pay them a fee, or
they do? They take a substantial. Well, not substantial. Well, it's 15%. Starting from 15%. Sometimes they go up to 20%.
Wow. Okay. Which it's kind of
which is not bad. Because if you didn't, because like I was talking to a client the other day, and he was saying platforms like Airbnb and Booking.com, they give the small guy the platform to appear alongside these big guys. So for example, now you go on Booking.com, you're now seeing, Sarah from, wherever, who's listing her property, and right underneath her you've got
Sarah from Wolverhampton, I don't know.
Listing her property. And then you've got right underneath her or above her, you've got
like Hilton.
So now
I like that. That's a good point, actually.
So now you're they competing on the same level as the bigger boys. And
if Sarah's house is nice, to amenities, shops, transport,
then you're going to choose
that's good. I didn't think of that.
So this is what it does, and for that, visibility, you're only paying 15% of something that you would not have received. So
£200 you give them 40 if it's 20%. Say
I look at it as this is customers that you're finding, but when you get good and when you're established and you work out methods and you've got systems in place, you then start your own build your own client base. So we've got so much returning customers, so much. So when people stay with us once, they love the properties, we then put them on our own mailing list, and then we then send them out emails. Okay, look, come back to us, you get a cheaper discount, because we can now offer them, we've got a space of 20% that we wouldn't be getting anyway. So we can offer them a 10% discount and still be making more
than what you would have. Exactly. Oh, that sounds amazing.
So they're the kind of things like that. So that's pretty much how the property bit works.
So you've gone from speakers to car wheels, to websites,
vacuums.
So vacuums.
Which are still selling. They're on Amazon. They're still selling. You know?
Still selling. Look on Amazon, guys. Gonna put the details in the description.
Yeah.
And now properties and Airbnb, lettings, rentals, and you said you did some bit of like renovations. You got a little team now.
Yeah, we do renovations. So full conversion. So we turned one house, which was a 3-bedroom house. We turned it into a 6-bedroom. 6 en suites, HMO. You know, this is probably one of our crown jewel property because it is doing fantastic.
Wow!
I mean, seriously.
And then Duwayne's also got the expertise to turn a shed into.
Oh yeah, we've done that. So
turn a shed. Yes, you heard me. Shed into like an apartment.
Yeah, it's a full studio apartment, and we've actually branded it. You can find it. We've branded it the HIDEAWay. So if you go there, it's fantastic. It's really
so where would, if someone wants to go to the HIDEAWay, where would they find that details?
They can book direct on our website, which is housemanage.co.uk, or they can go on booking.com, Airbnb.
So housemanage.co.uk. Again, details will be left. Yeah. And the HIDEAWay, that sounds really good.
Yeah, it's nice.
And when you go, it's actually, when we say a shed, you're thinking of a wooden, old school, or classic kind of shed. No, it's actually, looks more like a little house, like a brick kind of house, but it was used for a shed. But if you see it, you would not believe it. It is absolutely amazing. So as before we go, we're going to just quickly fire some questions at Duwayne. So Duwayne, like I speak to you a lot and you always say like, sis, no, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to get on. Trust me, every time I kind of put things out and do things, I'm kind of seeing it come back, So we talk about vision boards and planning and stuff. So just in a few seconds, for each question, what's a vision board?
Okay, so a vision board is something where you're aspiring to. So you put down everything that you want on your board. You make a clear plan of like, this is what I want. Pictures, images, just to kind of reinforce in your mind that this is what you're trying to achieve. Yeah. This is what you want, right? And it doesn't necessarily need the visualizations of our actual vision board. You just need to know, but the vision board actually helps because it's giving you something to actually look at and consistently remind you of this is what you're trying to achieve. And like I was saying, that it's very important to have a plan and to understand what you want, because you see it in companies all the time. This is why they have their mission statement on. A lot of companies have their mission statement on the wall before you go in. Everyone in the company is in line in what they're trying to achieve. They know, they look at it, what we want to achieve this year, we want to achieve this, we want to achieve that, the bigger goals. The same as your vision board. You put it up, I want a new car, I want this, I want a business, I want to do this. And
I want a family, I want a husband,
it absolutely works.
And how do we do a vision board? What does it even look like?
Okay, so it can be literally anything. Like, I've done them, and I have to do testimonial to say that it work. Mine have always just been, I jump on a app like Photoshop or Canva, and I just paste the little pictures of things that I want to achieve, and just look at a board of what I'm aspiring to. Could be over the year, over the 5-year period, or whatever.
Yeah, and if you're anything like me, which I'm slightly old school, I have like a just pen and paper diary, and you can also, I just kind of like like a spidergram or something, just kind of map out. You can put whatever your goal is in the middle, I guess, and like you can have that kind of sparring off.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
And it's important as well. Like, even if it's just text or writing or whatever it may be, sometimes it could be more visual. Like, I watched a video of Jim Carrey. Oh my gosh! So the story of him, he said that he there was a time where he was struggling, making money, whatever, and he just knew that he wanted to. I can't remember the amount. I think it's like $1 million or whatever like that.
Wow.
And what he done is he said, I want to get it by this date. It's also important to be.
So this is where we go when you said being specific now, so we can go on to that. Yeah.
So to be specific, because he said I wanted this amount by this date. So what he done is he wrote himself a check to say, look, this is what you're going to get by this date. Followed it up, kept it, and on the date that come, he said that he landed the job on the mosque, and that job paid him that amount. So you can see that he had he wrote it down, said what he wants, and then look, it come back.
Wow. So when you're being very specific, ladies, if it's for our husband, let's not visualise on what we don't want, because we all say, I don't want a man that does da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah, what you do want.
what you do want. Because like when I was driving, like my first driving lesson, I don't think I was like 16 or whatever, and you're always, you go over the curb or whatever. I'll never forget, he said, never focus on what you don't want to hit, because you'll end up hitting it.
Yeah.
So if you think of hitting a brick wall, you're going to end up in a brick wall. And I thought, that's actually true, and that's for everything in life, really.
Exactly.
And we end up focusing all the time on things we don't want, because they're the things we're thinking, if we can focus on that, we're going to avoid it. You don't, because your subconscious is set in your subconscious. So your subconscious can be looking for the things that you plant there all the time in your visual, which is things I don't want. I don't want, that broken car. You end up buying a car that breaks down because that's all you've given yourself thought to. So yeah, that's really good, Duwayne.
Exactly that. And I mean, so the idea is concentrate on what you do want.
Yeah.
Be very specific and get a visual representation of. So it's always in your mind, so you can always see it. So that's why they say vision boards help, because they're clear. You understand. You can see pictures. You can see text.
Yeah.
And it's always in your mind to say, this is what I want.
So we talk about goals. So goals are things you want to accomplish in your life. So what some of the things maybe you can put on your vision board just to help some people that
it could be short term, it could be long term, it could be things like a new house, it could be more money from your job, it could be positive health if you're it could vary, so it obviously is unique to
whatever's personal to you. Okay. And how do you go about planning, like making a plan for these things? Like you said, your vision board, but actually say, okay, one of my on my vision board, I'm going to one of my goals is to lose weight. Okay. And I'm clueless, actually. I'm thinking I've never really exercised before. Always been slim, putting a bit of weight over the years. What's a plan to kind of do that? What would you?
Okay, so I would say that, putting it down on the vision board, I do believe it will come anywhere. As long as you believe it.
Okay, wow. But having that faith, I like that.
It helps if you put yourself in a position for things to come to you. So if you say, you want a, whatever it is, you want a new job. But if you're just, sat home and do nothing all day and just twiddling your fingers like this, chances are it's probably not going to come. Yeah. Like so you probably need to be a bit active, and then just put yourself.
Plan to make that job become a reality as well. Yeah. Okay, so looking on the internet, newspapers, I don't know, looking on.
But I can give you an example actually.
Okay, yeah. Go
ahead. I've got quite a lot actually. But for one specific one, is I was like, I've done a vision board, and on there I had like £5,000 a month retainer.
Okay.
And at the time, that was like that was a lot, because I wasn't making anything near that. So I was very ambitious, £5,000 a month retainer, and then literally.
Remember his age. Okay.
Out of the blue. He's now a good friend, but a client, they contacted me and said, we saw a portfolio that you had online. Are you able to come in for an interview or meet? I was like, okay, cool. Went into Central London, Oxford Street, went in for an interview about a design company, and then, just like that, bang, £5,000 a month, retainer. Wow. Just like that. And I was thinking, and I was like, oh my God, that is so, wrote it down, had it there, and literally out of the blue, today I got a call saying we saw an old portfolio that I had online. Do you want to come in for an interview? Wow. On that same chart, I had that, my vision was 10 employees, was a glassed office, all this kind of stuff. I kid you not, when I turned up to the meeting, inside his office, glass, 10 employees inside there. So I got what I wanted, but it just wasn't specific. I didn't say my office, my employees. But I was in an office with 10 employees.
Wow,
glass,
I love that.
What I should have done, I should have brought because I've still got the PDF. What I created.
Wow.
I should have brought it in, and I could have showed you the picture of the office.
Well, that'll be part 2 video.
Part 2. I'll bring it in.
But I love what Duwayne said. He put down his vision on the vision board. Wanted the 5,000. Got into this. What you said his name is Dan. This young guy got in there. They said, "Yeah, we can give you that, no problem." And then he said, actually, this is also what I put on my vision board, to have the 10 employees, a glass office and etc. But then he wasn't specific to say my office, my employees. So guys, be very specific. Not Pacific, that's the ocean. Specific.
Yeah, no, definitely. And there's even sometimes when I remember there was one time when me and my brother was sat, I think it was the E-Class, it just come out, and then we was watching a promotional video. And we sat in the office, I remember it specifically, sat in the office, and I remember the scene where they was driving through the mountain and it zoomed up on the
So what is this,
Mercedes E-Class.
Mercedes E-Class, okay.
AMG. So I was looking at it and I was like, oh, I really want that car. I really, really want that car. You know, and then fast forward, you know, I've got one. You know, so
just like that.
And at the time,
Amazing.
when I was seeing it, it was like, oh, it's probably in the back of my mind. I thought, probably not really, but I really want one. I really want one. That appeared on my vision board, and you know, it's happened. So things like that, things like new business opportunities, all this type of stuff. I've always put it on there.
Amazing.
And they find its way to come.
So now when you look outside, it's sitting outside. Now you're like, you look at your vision board and you look physically outside, and there's one out there, and that can be you guys.
So now we've upgraded it from an AMG to, you know, we want the Lamborghini Jeep.
What? And trust me, on the next video, I think he's going to have one sitting outside. So that's amazing. So how to be consistent? Because I think, for me, anything you do, doesn't matter what it is, I find when you're not consistent, and even if something's not working out, you're not consistent, it's like you're setting yourself up to fail. So what's some of the ways you can be consistent in these things?
Okay, so consistency is quite hard because and even now, you know, I think I sometimes struggle with consistency, but I think what helps is when you set targets, and instead of looking at the bigger picture, sometimes it's better to create smaller targets. So instead of I need to, you know, probably, I don't know, I need to post a video every single week or every single day or whatever it may be, maybe look at a smaller thing that you need to do. So maybe I need to, you know, write a script, maybe I need to do this, and when you break it into smaller things, it's easier to then take it on to make yourself consistent,
absolutely,
rather than thinking of the big thing and then it's just like, oh, you know, it's a bit long, I can't do this,
it's too much, you feel overwhelmed.
But then if you break that big task down into smaller tasks, before you know it, you've basically done the whole task, and that helps you be consistent. I find that is a good way. Also, getting other people on board. So when you've got some accountability, so where someone is saying, oh, you know, you need to do this because I'm waiting for this, that kind of encourages you to get something done as well.
It's like that.
Other things, putting things inside your calendar. This is a you know, fantastic.
Like a to-do list type thing.
Exactly, and a reminder. So I do this now all the time. So when something needs to be done, we get it put in the calendar, and it will pop up to remind me, okay, this needs to be done. And then give yourself a deadline. So, you know, and that will kind of help with the consistency. You still probably fall off here and there, but the more you do it, the more you get used to it. And
I like what you said. It's like little bite size. Don't think to yourself, like, I'll say weight. You know, us women, you know, a lot of us are always trying to, you know, look good, lose a bit of weight here and there. But I need to lose, say, for example, 4 stones, and think, I want to lose that in 6 months. Is that realistic? You know, you have to think about what would I have to do to lose 4 stones in 6 months when it's taken me how many years to get here, right?
And also, so for using that example there, what is a good thing to do is, if you are going to be like overly ambitious like that, break it down into smaller chunks. Like again, an early vision board I wrote, I said I want to earn £10,000 a month. I didn't know how, and this was after the contract. So contract done, £10,000 a month now, and I was thinking, okay, so what can we do to earn that? You then break it down to smaller chunks. So okay, from 10,000 to a month, how much do you need to make a week, and then what can you do to make that figure a week? So then you're now breaking it down into smaller achievable goals,
right?
You know, and then once you do that, you can then work towards the smaller achievable goals, and you know that if you hit these smaller targets, you will then hit the £10,000 a month,
right?
So
and I think that's really good. So if we just go back even to losing weight, so because if you do what Duwayne just said, you're going to actually, when you break it down, think, I have to lose how much pounds in a week? That's, you know, going to be, you won't be able to sustain that. So what you then say is, okay, what is a healthy average? You might think £2 a week. And to do that, I might have to cut out certain things. I'm going to have to walk, maybe go to the gym or do some stuff at home. And then you say to yourself, is that realistic? Do I even like going to the gym? Okay, maybe not. Can I do walking? Is it half an hour? Is it an hour? And then you break it down further. How long do I have to walk to lose certain thing, like a certain amount of weight? You know, how much water do I have to drink? So what Duwayne said is key. Break it right down.
Once you go down to that small part, you then know what the minimum you need to do to hit that.
I love
and obviously, if you continue to do the minimum, you'll then hit the full target.
And then like it's going back to what you said before, you'll be consistent, because you're not going to be overwhelmed with a feeling of being anxious and, oh my God, I have to hit this by this, you know, deadline. And then what you end up doing is procrastinating. We'll get onto that now. Procrastinating and then not doing it at all. So procrastination.
Yeah, horrible thing, my God. So, procrastination can be one of the, trust me, it can be one of the worst.
Of time.
One of the worst things. And sometimes there's no reason for you to, you've got something to do.
Got a task.
Yeah. And you find other things to do just putting off that task.
Exactly.
And one of the things I think is literally just, and I know it sounds easy to say, but just doing it. So if you know in your mind that something needs to be done, don't wait, don't delay, just do it right now. So I get that all the time. Sometimes I know an email needs to be sent and I'm thinking, oh, it's a long email. And I'll put it off. I say, okay, let me do this first, let me do that, let me do this. But then I've tried to train myself to say, okay, look, if I know something needs to be done, I'll just do it now. Because you then start to develop a habit of saying every time something comes up that you don't want to do, you put it off. It comes up again, you put it off. It comes up again, you put it off. So the idea is to kind of retrain your thought process that, you know what, when something does come up that you don't want to do, I don't want to do it, but let me just get it done and then make yourself feel happy that it's complete. So get it done
and like you can reward yourself as well.
Yeah, exactly that.
Something nice, whether it's, it could be a hot bath, could be a cinema, it could be, doesn't matter, but just a nice reward to say, like, once I've done that, then I can get that. It's a bit like, you boys buying the car and buying a nice little thing. You've achieved something, so you gift yourself something, isn't it, to say, exactly, well done.
And that can work in an adverse effect as well. So if something negative happens or bad happens, and then you reward yourself, then you understand. So for example, you're upset because you didn't get the job that you want. So you're not rewarding yourself, but you're saying, okay, I didn't get the job, I'm going to go and eat ice cream or do this or do whatever. Then you're kind of programming yourself that every time something bad happens, I need to eat ice cream. Or you understand? Right. So it can happen in the
adverse. I didn't see it like that actually. And the thing is what you tell yourself is what you are and what you become. So every time, like you said, something bad happens, I'm going to treat myself. And then you see the weight comes back on again, guys. You see? Back to this weight thing. But then it's not good because, as you know, an unhealthy diet, an unhealthy mind, an unhealthy body makes you sluggish, lethargic, and all these things that Duwayne was telling you about, business and how to get on the vision board and how to do this. It helps when you've got good health because it clears your mind as well, guys. So just steps to being your brand. Like if someone wants to, they're just saying, actually, I want to, open up a restaurant or run a childminder, just to be, what's a brand?
Okay, so going back to the kind of marketing side, as soon as people say brand, the first thing people think is a brand is your logo. A brand is not a logo.
True. I'm thinking of some of the big names, sportswear and stuff.
It's not. So a brand encompasses everything about the company. It's your tone of voice. It's your company culture. It's how you communicate with clients and staff. And it's as well as your logo. Yeah. It's your your copy that you use. Your how people view you. Yeah. So you can, for example, there's a I was reading an article and about branding, and basically what they've done is they showed you some pictures, some big bright colours, like colours on things like blue, yellow, and then they ask you what brand was that, and automatically you see by the colour shade it was IKEA. They ask you about certain things, how IKEA. So they ask you certain things and explain things about certain ways, and then you automatically knew that was about that company. Yes, they said certain phrases and you knew, and that is how you can understand how a brand is not just a logo. Yeah, you can mention certain songs as well. So you listen to certain
what is that?
Yeah, so
what is that?
What's that? Asda.
And that was a bad. You'll go, what was that? But you see how it's how it sticks to your mind though.
This is what builds up a brand, and once you get all of that right,
did you wrong there? That was a bad reputation. That's a clown and it's like a circus. Sorry, but you got it. Yeah.
But once you build up all of that then becomes your brand, and then how you portray yourself to customers and clients, and that is your brand. Yeah. So I think the first step of building your brand is deciding on what you want other people to perceive you as. Brilliant. So if you want to be perceived as affordable, cheap, and then know that your wording for how you advertise is going to change. Your emails that you send to customers are going to change. Your color scheme and your logo is going to change. Now, if you're advertising for luxury and this high end, then your copy and your content is going to change the user price of clients. Instead of saying, you know, nothing luxury is quick. So you're not going to, quick will be deleted from the vocabulary of luxury. You know? It's going to take time, it's going to be precise, it's going to be bespoke. You know?
Bespoke,
so these are the words that you're going to be using in the marketing. And your logos are going to be more the kind of, you know, like that Harrods kind of toned down greens, and it's not going to be no bright, brashy blues,
like no pastels and those kind of colours. It's going to be rich, and rich colours.
So, and this is what encompasses your brand. So find out how you want to be perceived by others. And then once you know how you want to be perceived by others, you can then work around that. So your copy, your logo, your content, your text, your email structures, all that kind of stuff.
Wow. So,
and it's not only for companies, it's for individuals as well. So how you want to be perceived for yourself, then you need to, you know, perceive yourself like that. If you want to be, you know, and it's the same, and I know it's not great when they say, you know, you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but unfortunately, that's the kind of world that we live in. So people perceive from the first look. So if you want to portray yourself, or your brand is, you know, a high end, and you're dealing with these high end people, high end probably whatever, and they're looking at you as a brand, then chances are they're not going to take you on that if you're, you know, you're not presentable, or all this type of stuff. So you have to treat yourself how you want to be perceived by others.
Absolutely. So, you know, sometimes when they say when you go for an interview, the first thing they do is look at your attire. They look what you're dressed. Do you have a suit on? You know, if it's a female, you know, do you have a nice skirt and a blazer and stuff? Is your hair combed? You know, how do you shake their hands? Is that, you know, that strong handshake, or is it like really watery? So they think, do you sit there with your arms crossed, so you're kind of cutting yourself off, you know, in terms of communication as well. So absolutely, you then stand for your product, you know, you are your product as well. When you go out, you speak for your brand.
Absolutely, all the time when I'm dealing with customers and clients, they'll say, oh, you know, so many times, oh, you know, it's not the company or the staff or the team that you work. It's because I saw you. I trusted you. I, you know, put my trust in you.
Absolutely.
And there you go. Take on the property or whatever it is. And remember, you know, a property is one of the most expensive assets that, you know, an average person will buy. You know, super rich will buy yachts and that kind of stuff. Average person, your most expensive asset is going to be probably a home or a house. And to hand that over to someone is quite a tall order to know. Say, okay, this is my house. Take it, manage it for, you know, 5 years. It's quite a big ask. So in order to do that, you're going to need to trust the person.
Trust is a good thing.
And that is a part of your brand. So if you want to be a trustworthy brand, it's going to be the staff you employ. It's going to be the approach you take. It's going to be your openness to telling your clients how you operate.
Absolutely.
You know, so we've had some clients that, because we've been so open, and we've literally given them the whole step-by-step guide of how they can go and set up their own HMO, do their own things, and do everything they want. And then on the other spectrum, the same client has actually approached other companies, and they was completely shut him off. No, we're not going to tell you this, we're not going to tell you that, we're not going to tell you none of this. If you want to do this, instruct us, and then we'll get it done for you. We can tell you everything you know. Where my approach was, you know what, I'll tell you everything you want to know, it's fine. As long as it's not going to cost me money or too much time, I'll tell you what you need to know. And then using that approach, they really liked our openness. They liked how, you know, we was. And although we gave him all the knowledge to do it himself, what did he do? He still got us to do it anyway.
Wow.
You understand? So, and that is a part of the brand that
trusted you enough to,
exactly. So I try to create that in every single company we do or start is trust. So to be open and gain trust with customers and clients.
Brilliant. So guys,
that's the brand.
Listen to this one, check this one out. So you've got so much information now, so much more. Hopefully you've got more knowledge and wisdom and understanding about opening up a business, and even if it's small, just start small and then it will grow. And even if it's something on the weekend or something you want to do in the evening, you know, don't ever feel that any idea is silly. And even if you think, like, you know, you've seen Faye on the show and she said, you know, she makes cakes. And she's always said, but there's loads of cakes, but they're not her cakes, they're not Faye's cakes. And you're going to have your own audience, you're going to have your own customers that will come to you. And like Duwayne said, if you're truth and honesty, and if they like what you're doing, then trust me, you're going to make it. So I'm just going to give him a little question here before we go. So what's a little testimony you want to leave people? Have you got anything in mind? Like a little testimony, how, you know, I like to, you know, praise my God, how God has helped you on this journey. I think I have something in mind when you said, so I'm going to leave with the Bible scripture as well, when you said that you called me one time and you said, you know what, sis? You know when you keep on talking about like make your vision and make it plain, and we were talking about the vision boards, and you said that's what's happening. Like, you know, I'm looking at I think it was one of the books that I forgot what the book's called, but it kind of a bit like Proverbs. It helps you like self motivate. But I like to give God His glory, and he was like, all these things I've been putting down on my vision board, like they come to pass. Yeah. So what's a little testimony? I don't know, maybe how has God helped you? Have you seen kind of anything you've done so far?
Yeah, no, definitely, 100%. So I mean, and it's to the point where it's almost like unbelievable. Like it's like that's crazy. God. Like it's like crazy. Like things that have just kind of just connected together or just fit together, and you're thinking, how did that happen? Or and it's just funny because while you're going through it, you wouldn't exactly know. So for example, there's been some things that have happened and I was so annoyed, so upset, just so frustrated, like, oh my gosh, why has this happened? But then months down the line, that needed to happen for the next thing to happen.
Brilliant.
And then I was like, oh my gosh, so if that first thing actually happened, the second thing would have happened.
Right. That's when they say when God closes the doors, but he will close one door and open up another one, but that is also protecting you sometimes. We don't understand. And on that note, it says, so this is, you'll find this in the Habakkuk 2:3, and this is the amplified version of the Bible. It says, for the vision is yet for the appointed time. It hurries towards the goal. It will not fail. Even though it delays, wait for it, because it will certainly come. It will not delay. Now that vision in the Bible, it was a king was having his banquet and his hand appeared and started writing. And I think God was warning, telling Habakkuk to warn the people of a war that was coming. And he said, but it's not yet for an appointed time. But a lot of people have now taken that scripture and has actually written their vision and said, well, if you can make it plain and write it and also, meditate on it, with the word of God, it will come into fruition. So like everything Duwayne has said about wanting that E-class and, wanting to be in that office and wanting to earn 5,000, it has come into effect. He's written his vision and he's made it plain, and so said, so done. It's also in the Bible. So I want to thank Duwayne. Thank you, Duwayne, for coming.
That's all right.
It's been an absolute pleasure. I've learnt so much as well. I hope you get some nice nuggets from this show. And again, please like and subscribe and share. And thank you everyone that's been tuning in as well. Bless you. Take care, guys.
Bye.